Hey everybody, Kent Armstrong here again. Well, today's the day. Today is the day we talk about what is a pickup. When the strings vibrate across a pickup and the magnetic field is broken, it generates, yes, that's right, it generates an AC current. It goes backwards and forwards. So, what is the power source? So what happens is, here is a Stratocaster bobbin with no windings on it, just the magnets. We can call these magnets batteries if you want. These batteries are what hold the power. When the string breaks the magnetic field, it induces an electrical current in millivolts, thousands of volts, into a wound coiled Stratocaster. Same thing. Here are the lead wires going out. It produces electricity. There's a lot of people out there that actually think that the amplifier sends electricity up to the guitars. This is not the case. The pickup sends electricity in thousands of volts and all kinds of ups and downs to the amplifier. The amplifier then magnifies this many, many thousands of times. Oh, big, oh, huge, tens of thousands of times, hundreds of thousands of times, depending on how big your amplifier is, and then sends that signal to the amplifier. So it is nothing more than a generator. It generates electricity. If you were to take this coil and put it under the strings with no magnets, it'll generate nothing. So it's the magnets that help. This is why when a pickup dies, an old single coil like this dies from the 50s, the power gets less and less and less. So it takes a lot of energy to charge these magnets, and they're like little batteries. Now, this is basically the simplest form, but there's even one simpler I'll show you in a demonstration I've got later. So it was said back in the 30s at RCA, just recounting what I heard, an engineer had put a second transformer into a radio to give it more power, but he'd wired it in backwards. And when they turned the radio on, instead of having all kinds of hum noise, which is generated by the 60-cycle hum, we'll get into that later, the radio was very quiet. He had discovered hum canceling. And of course, it's credited with Gibson and Seth Lover of designing and building the humbucker. And here it is. This is just two single coils on the same plate, just wired a bit differently with you could call this a horseshoe magnet, because the bar magnet, you can just see it inside there, the silverness in there, is connected by these two pieces of metal, and it creates a horseshoe magnet. So the magnetic field is going this way, and this way. So again, when the strings break this magnetic field, it induces two currents. We'll get more into this at a later date. But these are the basic two designs. That everything else is a variation off these. I don't care what it is. When you're talking about electromagnetic, these are the two designs, be it the Stratocaster or single coil or the humbucker. And there's many variations. They're all, you could have a bar magnet here. The old Dan Electros was a single Alnico magnet with a polarity up, north and south, and just windings around it. But simplest form, really the simplest form. In fact, you'll see in the demonstration I've set up, which I'll have to do in a separate video, that it doesn't really matter. As long as you've got a magnet and wires, you'll generate something, but it's going to be in small voltages. I mean, you're not going to create voltage for a light bulb. But because I don't quite understand how to use my iPad here, I will have to post a separate video showing the practical demonstration I've set up of voltage being generated. I've used my winder and just two little pieces of steel going around on the plate across the face of a coil. I will post that in a separate video. But remember, this is just a generator, so the electricity goes from this to the amplifier. And we'll get into more details of things like windings, type of magnets, height of coils compared to a slightly smaller height of coil. It makes all a big difference on what it is. So I hope this is good, and we'll get this going some more.